My sibling mentioned, ditch your work meeting and chauffeur my boy to his softball match the day after. When I turned her down, she snickered at me. Where's your spouse and children? Okay, you lack them. My folks giggled. So I remarked, still unemployed? That's likely why I've covered your housing costs up to now. My name is Caleb. I'm 33, the eldest child, the default childminder, the guy who remembers the extra key spot and the method to clear the drain before disaster strikes. I'm a cook, not the celebrity type, but the genuine article. Extended hours. Scars across both forearms like subtle marks of defeat. Folks assume cook's party till dawn at 2 a.m., but most evenings I'm cleaning cutting boards and running silent calculations on ingredient expenses and bills. I maintain my blades honed and my feelings muted. It's easier that way. I conclude my household ties. I'm the reliable type. In other words, the individual who never utters refusal. I shift sofas, repair wheels, and answer messages that begin with brief request. I monitor anniversaries, deliver baked dishes, and somehow recall the count of utensils remaining at my parents' place, which diminishes each visit when my sibling, Bree, 2 years my junior, shows up. She's shone brightly from the start, the sort who can delay a bill and yet win over the property owner. She's raising a 10-year-old boy, Tyler, obsessed with softball and online videos. My parents cherish them openly. Me? They express affection via tasks and demands. Thursday evening, I pulled into my parents' yard post-shift, reeking of onions, cream, and a persistent smoke detector. I had a meeting the following dawn. Sous cook position at a fresh inn. Major chance. Improved schedule. Actual health coverage. I programmed my wake-up for 6:30, pressed my soul crisp blouse, and left off mom's order. Baked fowl and a container of broth for dad's stew. Bree lounged on the sofa, thumbing through her feed. My parents sat at the desk, shuffling cards. As if memories powered the bulbs. Hi, I noted, fowls by the edge. Remember to store it. Spot on arrival, Bree commented, eyes fixed down. Thus, you'll scrap your meeting and ferry Tyler to his softball event tomorrow. I chuckled, assuming humor. Nope, I replied, crucial morning. She mocked. So it's vital. Where's your spouse and children, Caleb? Yes, you lack them. How convenient to be so free. My parents tittered, that subtle, slicing chuckle relatives share when endorsing the barb. My face flushed. I'm not scrapping it, I stated. Bree dismissed with a glance. All right, I'll inform Tyler his uncle prioritizes career over kin. Mom exhaled as if scripted. Dad piled the cards harshly. The space leaned my way, anticipating my yield, as usual. I held firm. I'll message post-meeting, I announced. Then I sealed the broth, exited, onion scent lingering on my palms, and that petty, harsh chuckle stuck in my gullet like a shard. I didn't transform into the clan's chauffeur, soul fixer, and meal maker in a flash. It evolved like kitchen floors get grimy. One drip by drip until the surface clings to your soles. We matured in a compact 2-room unit with a modest patch and a barbecue Dad dubbed the monster. Mom operated a childcare setup from the residence. Dad hauled freight vans. We managed, not thrived. The bulbs glowed. The cooler held provisions if you favored repeats and deals. Anniversaries brought a single present and a purchased pastry. If the present was substantial, the pastry shrank. That's the equilibrium when you avoid labeling it finances. I grasped young that meals soothe tempers. If Dad returned irritable, a dish could hush him. I mastered extending foul legs with grains and pulses. I realized my role was to patch voids, the faulty hook, the overlooked approval form, the hush after Mom declared Bree exceptional. By secondary school, the duties were set. I labored evenings at a cafe. Bree pursued drama, appearing seamless in each snapshot. I'd return at 1 m, steeped in leeks and deep fry scent, to a memo. Caleb, could you drive Bree to class at 7? I complied each time. That landed me in Cooking Academy via aid, fees waived, but not tools, footwear, or fuel. I scoured plates nightly to fund a blade set. Bree sampled local university, loathed it, and dropped out citing wellness. Nobody urged her return. She floated via temporary gigs and artistic ventures. When Tyler arrived, the dynamic altered. Kin above all, Dad declared, implying Caleb contribute extra. I was 25, handling volunteer trials at a solid eatery while holding a full load at a subpar one to endure. Bree relocated to our parents amid our parents, temporarily till settled. Mom noted, you get it. In that inflection blending fondness and directive. I rose to it. Powder's pricey. Nappies costlier. I delivered provisions Sundays since tossing in one more pasta bake felt minor. I settled their web access when severed. I handled Dad's clinic fee when he misplaced his pouch. I got Bree a second-hand pram, then bassinet, then safety seat as hers had lapsed. She uttered it casually, as if preparation wasn't her duty before matters turned bitter. When I earned my initial true advancement, station chef to assistant lead, I shared with none. I purchased fresh boots, cleared a balance, and swapped my broken device. I skipped fanfare. Fanfare draws opinions. Must be pleasant, Mom might comment. The housing aid began as crisis. Bree's partner departed, her signature on the contract, and she fell short merely this cycle. I wired $850, then $400, then $100 by week's close. The sums merged. She vowed repayment upon her image work booming. I queried her definition of when it booms. She ignored me. Then Mom rang. Bree and Tyler are settling in briefly, she shared. How brief? I probed. Avoid harshness, she urged. The dwelling swelled with youthful clamor anew. Tyler's glee rendered grudge impossible. He dubbed me Chef Uncle Cal, quizzed if onions qualified as produce. We crafted. This Friday dawn. Then Thursday struck. The scrap your meeting note. My parents giggled. My face flushed. That marked the initial evident fissure. The others had brewed below. The burst arrived 2 days on at my parents' abode. It was meant as mere pastry for Tyler's major match. But it morphed into judgment. The meeting succeeded. Borrowed vest, spotless crisp blouse, cloth folded in my satchel like assurance. We discussed plate planning, expense management, and outlook. I avoided prattling. I skipped remorse for desiring it. Upon reaching my vehicle, 14 alerts from Bree awaited. Did you truly disregard me? Tyler wept. Mom summoned cousin Leah for transport. You're self-centered. I hadn't answered. Yet I motored over for the pastry, as some fragment hoped presence might mend tone. I in the prep area. The icing dripped beneath film. Bree posed with limbs folded. Mom's mouth formed a slim streak. Dad gripped a blade like a mallet. Offer regret to your nephew. Mom uttered, bypassing greeting. For what? I questioned. For favoring career above kin, Bree retorted. For abandoning us. I warned you a cycle prior I couldn't ferry him, I noted. You framed it as trial. Dad bashed the blade on the slab. We avoid escalating minor matters. It's not minor, I countered. You requested I scrap a career meeting as you schedule my hours like your asset. Bree snickered. Where's your spouse and children, Caleb? Ah, correct. You lack them. This constitutes your kin. There it resurfaced, the low blow. My parents' gazes darted my way, awaiting the standard gulp and grin. My torso heated, then chilled. Each just this instance. Each swift aid. Each transfer label reading tie like gratuity raced my thoughts. I placed palms on the edge. No, I declared. Mom fluttered lids. Pardon? No. I restated. I'm not offering regret. I'm not scrapping items for you. I'm not feigning this as standard. Bree dismissed with gaze. Thus this is retaliation. This isn't reprisal, I stated, tone firm for once. This Friday dawn. Then Thursday struck. The scrap your meeting note. My parents giggled. My face flushed. That marked the initial evident fissure. The others had brewed below. The burst arrived 2 days on at my parents' abode. It was meant as mere pastry for Tyler's major match. But it morphed into judgment. The meeting succeeded. Borrowed vest, spotless crisp blouse, cloth folded in my satchel like assurance. We discussed plate planning, expense management, and outlook. I avoided prattling. I skipped remorse for desiring it. Upon reaching my vehicle, 14 alerts from Bree awaited. Did you truly disregard me? Tyler wept. Mom summoned cousin Leah for transport. You're self-centered. I hadn't answered, yet I motored over for the pastry, as some fragment hoped presence might mend tone. I in the prep area. The icing dripped beneath film. Bree posed with limbs folded. Mom's mouth formed a slim streak. Dad gripped a blade like a mallet. Offer regret to your nephew. Mom uttered, bypassing greeting. For what? I questioned. For favoring career above kin, Bree retorted. For abandoning us. I warned you a cycle prior I couldn't ferry him, I noted. You framed it as trial. Dad bashed the blade on the slab. We avoid escalating minor matters. It's not minor, I countered. You requested I scrap a career meeting as you schedule my hours like your asset. Bree snickered. Where's your spouse and children, Caleb? Ah, correct. You lack them. This constitutes your kin. There it resurfaced, the low blow. My parents' gazes darted my way, awaiting the standard gulp and grin. My torso heated, then chilled. Each just this instance. Each swift aid. Each transfer label reading tie like gratuity raced my thoughts. I placed palms on the edge. No, I declared. Mom fluttered lids. Pardon? No. I restated. I'm not offering regret. I'm not scrapping items for you. I'm not feigning this as standard. Bree dismissed with gaze. Thus this is retaliation. This isn't reprisal, I stated, tone firm for once. This is precision. Even Tyler halted his video stream. I drew my device, not to scan, simply to view the log of dates, sums, and aids. It wasn't display. It was self-reminder I wasn't deranged. I've subsidized your housing 6 cycles, I shared. Bree's chin set. I've settled mom and dad's services thrice this year. I purchased the provisions in your cooler presently. Each limit I drew, you personalized. Each planning plea, you branded self-centered. Dad scowled. You deem funds elevate you? I deem funds the tether you pull, I replied. And I'm the wearer. Bree gestured my direction. Utter that before Tyler. Declare you disregard kin. I eyed him. He was attuned, eyes vast. I assured him. I regard sufficiently to cease falsehoods on equity. Mom's inflection eased. Keen bite cloaked in honey. Darling, you've ever been precise. Avoid malice. I'm not malicious, I replied. I'm precise. Bree folded limbs firmer. Then declare it. What do you seek? I seek you cease deeming my hours and funds communal assets. I stated. I seek you schedule Tyler's transports pre-event eve. I seek you handle your housing or relocate affordably. I informed mom and dad I sought their inquiries for aid over assumptions. And absent that, I required separation. Dad huffed. Thus you're evicting kin. I'm installing a barrier on a structure lacking one, I replied. You may rap. I'll choose to unbar. Bree derided. Feeble. Perhaps, I conceded. But it's personal. Tyler queried if I'd attend his Saturday match. Affirmative, I replied. I honor vows, merely not concealments on toll. The subsequent dawn, my device erupted. 22 alerts from mom. 10 overlooked rings from Bree or dad. A relative note, Aunt Leah interjecting. I activated silence and prepared broth. Bree dispatched a terse note, pursuing it or not. I composed, erased, then ultimately not. The inn rang. I secured the role. I shared with parents succinctly. Secured the role. No icons, no affections. Room for normalcy. They weren't. Tyler. Match. I arrived with seat and treats. Bree raised jaw like sensing deceit. Tyler dashed near. You arrived, he noted. He struck a true sphere first, glanced my way, and my gullet faltered. Bree pinned me post. Thus housing. Allocation, I replied. Seek lesser abode? Cohabitant? Or a just routine? I'm finished. She neared. I'll inform Tyler you disregard. Inform him I cherish him. I stated. He grasps grown-ups differ sans defecting him. I established distinct finance vault. Limits. Shifted reserves, silence chimes, and requested my cook for Sundays free. I cataloged each repeated outlay I'd borne and halted feasible ones. I directed Dad to oversee his streaming service. Mom to cease listing my digits for dues, and Bree weekday transports her duty. Replies were theatrical. Dad, unappreciative. Mom, devastated. Bree, hope your cook colleagues appear when absent. Silenced. 2 cycles passed. I notified personnel and designated Tyler for single school aid. A means to aid him sans backing grown decisions eternally. The dwelling grew stiller. I prepared for solo. Tested novel. Scorched greens with fish paste cream. Arranged it as eatery fare. And savored it warm. Solo. And sated on initial. Bree skipped 8 a.m. ping. She messaged 8 p.m. crafted tirade. 2 periods. Wasn't simple. Composed glad for you. Silenced. No response. Stillness didn't signify painless. It signified aches bore titles. I permitted social scrolls and Aunt Leah's pokes to pass. 3 cycles on Bree sought brew meat. I attended as she requested, not ordered. She appeared truly weary. She'd located tinier flat in identical zone. Tyler claimed chamber. She'd claim lounge. He favored nearer greens. He inquired if I might still join select Saturday matches. I declined. She expressed remorse for prior spouse and children quip. I noted it. Boundary endured. We didn't mend all. We notched progress. I didn't alter. I merely demonstrated no-saying endurance. At the inn, operations gleam and clamor. I set chimes. For self. Scheduled tooth check. Acquired vessel sans scorch. Resting pad that bolsters. Minor indulgences. No remorse tide. Sundays. Grower bazaar. Excess citrus. Imperfect reds to salvage. Bree forwards Tyler's roster Mondays. I note it. Honor vows. Mom and dad connect. Probe status. Reluctant esteem. Minor news. Tyler rings to prep wok meal. Rehearses caution and craft. I avoid ire. I've mastered ceasing exploitation. I affixed a note near entry. Esteem the entry fee. I scan it departing. Returning. No saying didn't render me icy. It rendered me truthful. It didn't sever fondness. It severed entry. I persist in regard. But I cease funding others' crises via my prospects. Thursday. The meeting. The snicker. The masked aid. I envision not Bree's visage. I envision mine. Weary. Firm. Precise. I persist delivering stew when dad's ailing. Carve additional pastry. Root for Tyler. I merely don't scrap my existence for another's. Henceforth. We organize or abstain. We inquire or abstain. We esteem or abstain. I cherish them, but I cherish self sufficiently to secure my barrier when required.